Good morning, homeschool moms and dads. Okay, so today I want to talk about some of the fun read-alouds and picture books that we're going to be using for Classical Conversations Cycle 2, the Middle Ages and Renaissance. Okay, so let's get into it. So this is one of my favorite read-aloud series. If you know the Magic School Bus Classic, these are comic book style adventures, and they have lots of different ones. They have ancient Egypt, and they have a medieval castle, and I think the other one is China, and they might have more than that, but I think those are the only ones I have. But they go back in time and have kooky, crazy adventures, but the pages are chock full of information, just like Magic School Bus. So big hit in our home. I usually try to get an extra copy of this so I can give it to my niece, so that both of our girls can have them, but these are fantastic. Okay, so this is another big one. This is the Kingfisher Atlas of the Medieval World, and I love this. We've been going through it like crazy. It is both history and geography in one, and the illustrations are fantastic. And it goes through history of the Middle Ages through maps, and it's somewhat Eurocentric in that it's about Europe, but it does go into the Middle East and talk about the Golden Age of Islam, and it goes into India and China and Japan. So it really is a world atlas. Talks about the Pacific Islands. It's just really, really fantastic. And it goes back to these maps multiple times at multiple different points in history. So these are fantastic and we love them. Next is a series called Circumference. So these are math books. I have 4 or 5. I've got 4 of them. And we've read them all, and they're great, and I think we've read them multiple times. But they talk about different, usually geometry topics. Circumference, his wife Lady Di of Ameter, and their son Radius. Lots of puns. Love puns. So really love these. They're well illustrated, but they're also just really good stories. So we have been quite enjoying these. Okay, these, I did not realize until just now, are from Well Trained Mind. I didn't know that. I got these off of librarian and educationalresources.com. Love them. Great sales. Okay, so we have 2 of these. We also have Theodora, Justinian's Bride. So this is Ulrich the Unready. They're pretty simple narratives. They have some pictures. You can get through this in one setting, and they're pretty great. But they're adorable little stories taken from kind of a different perspective. Next, we've got some Usborne books. So if you know our channel, you know that I buy a lot of Usborne books. I love having these in my library. I don't use them as like curriculum per se, but they're great to just have and be able to pull out. Like we've got armor and we've got castles and these little Usborne first readers or Usborne beginner books. So these are the Usborne style nonfiction books with lots of great images and lots of good information, but they're at a really easy reading level. So these are nonfiction books that your kiddos can read on their own, which is really cool. Then Usborne has a lot of these, search and find books, and we've got a whole bunch of them. But they're very fun because they are very informative and they're just great images. So love the art. These are always fun to have on hand. Good thing to like get them playing with it while you're reading another read aloud. Next, I have some library bound books. These are also from librariansandeducationalresources.com, something like that. These are on painting in the Renaissance, cities and statecraft in the Renaissance. Sorry, I'm reading it off the spine and the print's smaller. Women in the Renaissance and religion in the Renaissance. So rather than just going from a like traditional political history approach, it's going through the Renaissance on kind of the periphery. So love that. And then when you get physically into them, they're not super thick. They just have a nice hard cover on them. But they're full color. They've got nice images. So they're not super dense, but I'm hoping that because of the quality of the binding that they'll last us for several kids. Okay, I had one more in that series. We also have great ideas of the Renaissance. Then I think this is the same series, but for the Middle Ages. So we have places of worship in the Middle Ages, medieval towns, trade and travel, and medieval projects you can do. If you saw my hands-on history for the Middle Ages, you know that we have like all the project books. We will not use all the project books, but we have them. Okay, then we've got these kind of wacky ones, but kids like kind of wacky approaches to history. So this is Hale Tutors. It is kind of a like magazine, like high color quotes, and yeah, it's a different layout. This is not my preferred way to consume information. This would kind of give me like stress. But for a kid to flip through, yeah, this is totally what a kid might want. So there you go. That one was pretty cute. And I think we also have a couple of these for the ancient world. Then this is like, hesitate to say ripoff, but it's kind of a ripoff of the like horrible histories. Awfully Ancient. See? But these have a very like junior horrible histories approach, and they kind of talk about like the gross fringe stuff, you know, how bad the medical industry was in the Middle Ages, and how gross the streets were and how unsanitary. Kind of a boy thing, I guess, but they're funny and they're cute. And when you just kind of want a relaxing history lesson that isn't super serious, these are a lot of fun. Okay, so this is a little one, but we loved it. So this is 100 Things You Should Know About Knights and Castles. And we read it in one setting. You know, I think she was drawing maps at the time. Like, it was no big deal. But it's just, you know, point by point. I think my son is trying to get in. It's just point by point, different little things that you might want to know about the Middle Ages. And the illustrations are great, and the data points are super small. So, you know, great little, like, you know, lunchtime read. Okay, on the giant stack of craft books that we won't get to, here's another craft book we won't get to because we bought too many of them. So I get a lot of these in like bundles on eBay and stuff, and my daughter is very crafty. Oh, this one's not a craft book. I don't know why it seemed like it was. No, it is. It is a craft book, kind of. It's both. It tells you a little bit of history. You know, I haven't even looked at some of these yet. You can tell a little bit of history, and then there's also like a craft you can do. Okay, so it is both. which is cool. And, you know, it's color and it's pretty. So there's this one. Okay, and our last one in the, like, you know, picture book read alouds is A Kid's Life in the Middle Ages. I've got several of these. I've got like A Kid's Life in Ancient Egypt, Ancient Greece, Ancient Rome, all the different places. Because kids sometimes, you know, it's like, what would my life have been like? It's like, it would have been terrible. What are you talking about? You wouldn't have the internet. Like, there is no YouTube in the Middle Ages. But we read this. It was cute. It's, again, very short read. Then I've got some reference books. So these are books that I really have no intention of ever reading. I just want to look at the pictures and have us do things off of them. So for instance, right now my daughter is making a long-term craft project of a medieval cathedral. It's not from a kit. She is making it out of cardboard boxes and paper and markers. So she is just drawing stuff and gluing it onto boxes and gluing boxes together, and it's really cute. But for that, she needs some reference books. So a medieval cathedral book, and like the medieval cathedral book. Like this one's beautiful. He also has like pyramids and a whole bunch of other stuff. But these are like the super detailed little pen and ink drawings. And it's really beautiful. But it's just for inspiration. So, yay. All right, so that's it on the cathedrals. Another project book we probably won't get to. This is Medieval Projects You Can Build Yourself. And honestly, one of the reasons I don't think we'll get to it is it's a little bit denser. It definitely has some good history to it. It's also a little bit of engineering. So you might actually be able to do this as like a science curriculum almost. If you're doing like CC and you're already doing other science and stuff, this might be a fun little like engineering thing to do alongside. It looks like a great curriculum. It's just long and involved, and I'm honest, and I won't get to this time. But maybe I will in 2 more years when we go back around to the Middle Ages. And finally, our last one is the Everything Understanding Islam book. So, the Middle Ages is really big for Islam and for the rise of Islam and the wars of Muslim conquest and all of that stuff. So, we need some better materials. And honestly, I wasn't finding a lot of like picture books and things, I don't know, that were like really history based. So I just went ahead and got a textbook. Yeah, so that's it. That's my giant, overwhelming, over the top, ridiculous amount of stuff that we can pull from for our Classical Conversations Cycle 2 Middle Ages and Renaissance library, bookshelf thing that we're doing at home in homeschool. So thanks so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.